Hey BBs, it's Plastic and today I'm back with you guys for another video. How are we all doing today? I hope we're all doing very well. In today's video, we're going to be ghoul chatting and talking about the idea of like a doll burnout, and it's something that's really like prevalent in the life of like a bigger collector, a person who has a lot of dolls or even a small amount of dolls. I think doll burnout can happen regardless of what you do, if you're a content creator, if you're just a collector, all of it. But before I get into today's topic and everything, I want to give a huge shout out to bratzline, because I was listening to their podcast as I was like cleaning my room one day, because I was like so sick of listening to music. Because I was listening to music all day, and I was like, I just need to hear people talk about dolls, whatever. And I put on the bratzline, and I really like, I knew they had like a new episode out, because I think Lookin' Brat's Dom was talking about it, and he was featured on it, and it was such a good podcast. They talked about doll burnout. So before you watch this video or after you watch this video, whatever comes first, click in the description below. I have that all linked and everything. It's an amazing podcast, and I cannot wait to catch up on on all of the rest of the episodes, because like the first one that I watched was the burnout one. And I wanted to add like my take to it and like my personal experience with doll burnout, because I'm someone who has like a bigger collection of dolls, like. And when I describe my collecting style, I guess, because I feel like there are definitely different styles, I'm an out-of-box completionist, which was fun. You know, when I first got my first job at 16, I had a lot of disposable income. I was working really hard, and I just wanted to buy dolls with that money. I originally got that job to buy the 20th anniversary dolls, which are right there behind me. And I think working a job for dolls is a good thing, especially when you're younger and you have that money that you don't have to like pay like bills and everything. And obviously collecting isn't always about the money. It's just more about like how you get the dolls, I guess, so like whatever. But when I had that disposable income, I was buying dolls like there was no tomorrow. And I think that was also the first time I was buying like modern dolls from like the store and everything. Like before that, like it was like I got that job in like springtime of 2021, and before that I had like it was like 2020 when I started collecting my Monster High dolls again, and I buy them very infrequently. Like it was very rare when I bought my Monster High dolls. So whenever I bought one, like I remember the first doll that I bought after collecting was my, what was it called? It was the Mad Science Laguna Blue. I bought another one because my old one was broken, and I got like I actually, because I didn't have a credit card at all at the time, so I had to like walk my down to CVS, and I had to buy myself a Visa gift card with the cash that I had. And that like little memory right now just in my brain of having to literally not having a debit card or credit card or any of those online payments, and having to buy myself a physical Visa card. And the doll was like $15 at the time. Like the dolls were not expensive like they are now, and it was a lot easier to get the dolls back in that time. But obviously, again, I didn't really have a job, so I didn't have that much money to, you know, buy these cheap dolls. But I just remember like that memory of like getting that doll and like getting her in the mail, and like I wouldn't tell anyone, so I like did it on my own. Like I took the package, like I ran from the doorstep all the way to my room, and I opened the doll, and I was so happy, and I like put her on my shelf. I didn't even clean her though, because like at the time I didn't know you're supposed to clean secondhand dolls. I just like put her on my shelf. She had her rotted hair up there, ma, but she looked gorgeous. And I remember like looking at that doll for like weeks on end, and just being like, I have a new doll. I haven't had a new doll in like 5 years. Like what's happening? And like, am I okay? Like da 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 da. And maybe that experience is more tailored to me getting a new doll for the first time in 5 years after like not collecting really. But like even now, like I think when I get dolls, I'm trying to change my style of dolls from being very like buy, because in a doll buying haze, like, and I want to say the doll buying haze kind of started from 2021, that summer, to honestly even like now, like when I would just, you know, because collecting OMG and Rainbow High, it's a lot to collect them, because like they're coming out in stores, like they have a lot of dolls coming out. And the reason they have a lot of dolls coming out is for like kids, obviously, so they can choose and pick which ones they like, because if they have a lot more to pick from, it's a lot easier to find a doll that resonates with you and your style. Specifically with OMG, every single doll of those has a very specific style. So when you're collecting, I'll see a lot of people who collect OMG, they either are completionists or they collect the ones that they specifically like, which I think honestly is a really good thing, and it kind of eliminates the doll burnout, which I even get into the doll burnout is when like I personally feel doll burnt out when I have a lot of dolls coming in the mail, when I have a lot of dolls stacking up, when there's a lot of dolls just in my room that don't have a home, they don't have a space, they don't have a shelf area, that haven't had their hair cleaned. There's dolls right now on my floor that I clean, but I want to re-clean them, and I just haven't had the time or energy to clean them. And there is a part in the day where it's not even about just like the money part. It's more about like the physical dolls and not being able to take care of them and take the time to be with them. I know an example right now is I was kind of like on like a mini no buy, and like a couple months ago, like I really didn't buy that much dolls in the past week or in the past month. And I like to kind of like, the way that I kind of like know that is when like I do like my monthly videos at, like at the start of the month, where I talk about which dolls I bought. And I think that's a really, really good way, I think, for every collector, and not even like having to make a video, but whatever collector, like if you don't really post on social media and you just like collect dolls and like, you know, your like bubble and everything, I think it's good to like kind of just like take a minute like before the month and just look at the dolls that you got from the last month and kind of evaluate, what do you want to spend your money on next month? What kind of dolls do you think is going to benefit your collection? What dolls did you enjoy and which dolls did you not really enjoy that you bought? That's kind of what I started to do with my what are they called? What do I call them? My monthly recaps, I think that's what I call them. So I think that kind of has started to eliminate the doll burnout that I felt, but there has definitely been so many times where I've just gotten like all over Rainbow High Pacific Coast. Like I bought 4 of them, and I had like OMG dolls from like Target that were on sale like last year this time, and I was just very, very overwhelmed. And when you feel burnt out from dolls, it doesn't feel like a hobby anymore, and it feels like you have to do it. Like it feels like a task and a chore. And doll collecting should never ever be a chore for you. It should always be very enjoyable and stuff. So when there was times where I just felt overwhelmed by the the hair that wasn't cleaned, and the dolls that was on my desk and on my floor, um, it's not a fun feeling, and it doesn't feel like a hobby anymore. And it's just exhausting. It's also exhausting when you go on your phone, because I know I open my phone and I have all my doll accounts are usually logged in first, and then my personal accounts are second, because like I like to see doll content more than I like to see real people. That might be like kind of weird, but like maybe like my Instagram, like I don't really like I like the people on my Instagram, but like I don't like I don't know, like okay, like we'll catch up later. So I like to see doll content more. I don't know, that's just kind of my niche, I think. So I'm usually logged into my doll Instagram, my doll Twitter, my YouTube account. Like that's what I kind of like check when I go on my phone first. Like even Amazon, there's been times where I just check Amazon sometimes. Like I scroll through it, and it's all fun and games, you know, to like just check your doll Instagrams and check your doll social medias. But I feel like there's also a point of like, how much can you watch it? And it's like a big issue, I think, in my little brain, because it's like you need to take time for your personal self, but you also need to take time for your hobby. I think I sometimes struggle to find an in-between balance, and I think I'm trying to get better at that. And I know it's not like the biggest thing to like, you don't like look up your like real friends. Like obviously you text your real friends, but like if you're going on your phone and you're just not like, you know, looking at people's Instagrams, like maybe that's not an issue, but like it's just like, don't you ever get overwhelmed by just continuously seeing doll content? And especially when you're looking at influencers and PR and YouTube and like this kind of thing, where you log on your YouTube and you see this PR unboxing, a doll opening unboxing, doll haul, review, all these reviews, especially right now when it's going into the July third quarter season, where where dolls are getting more, you know, they're being brought out more. There's a lot of new dolls coming out because of the new holiday season kind of quarter. You know, it's third quarter, and we kind of went from very little doll releases. Like the only doll releases we really, really got was the Monster High alumni dolls, and like some Bratz one Bratz release, and a couple OMG stuff throughout the year. So right now we're walking into an area and time where there's a lot of dolls coming out, and I think it's normal to feel burnt out and overwhelmed when you're seeing all these new dolls being released, because there's going to be a bunch of PR people, there's going to be a bunch of influencers, a bunch of people who have these new dolls in bulk and quantities. I know I just saw on my Twitter a couple people, like multiple people, buy the Whole School Mid-Secret Series 2 set in one Target go, and obviously that's not my thing to comment on, like, as do what you do, but I know as a person someone who like gets sometimes absorbed by social media, and someone who I feel like I'm competing with people sometimes, especially with the YouTube channel. I know that's more personal, but I think it's hard when you're trying to create content and you're trying to stay up to date, but there's also so many dolls being released that it's just very overwhelming. And I think I felt this a lot more last year when I felt so burnt out with Rainbow High, because they were releasing at least at least one line each month, and the line would consist of like Pacific Coast was like 7 dolls, Rainbow Vision was like 3, and they're all very expensive dolls, and I just kind of felt overwhelmed. Like, is it even like worth collecting Rainbow High if there's so many releases back to back to back? Because I know when series 4 came out, and like it was just like, okay, like that's cool, but then the twins came out like a couple days later, then the Ainsley's little set thing came out, and it was just like, I didn't feel like I was in control of it. And I know I wasn't directly buying those dolls at the time, but even from a consumer standpoint and a collector standpoint of like watching from the sidelines, I just felt very overwhelmed by the amount of dolls being released in such a short time. So right now I'm trying to prepare myself for July because I know that's exactly how I'm going to feel again. Especially the Rainbow High, because they have like what, 16 dolls coming out. Like they have the color ones, the runway dolls, the twins, and junior high. They have a couple big releases coming out in July, and I understand why they are coming out in July. And I understand that as a collector, you don't need to buy the dolls instantly. I think waiting for sales and waiting for those dolls to be come to you and wait them to be gifts and everything is honestly sometimes the better example. But I know, again, with social media and just continuing to be on your phone and continuing to engage with doll content, it's never a bad thing to engage in doll content. And there's obviously, when I mean this, I don't mean any shade to any of the influencers who this is their job to review the new dolls and to share the dolls with you. And I think it's a very, 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 very important thing for these influencers to share their opinions and share these dolls with you so you guys can make an informed decision on what dolls you want to buy and what dolls you want to skip on. And I don't think reviews are, I don't mean that in like that way, but like as a person who like doesn't do that, it just kind of gets overwhelming to just see that the new doll is being released every single day. And it just kind of loses the magic of it, to be honest. Like I know when I was, again, buying those dolls and I was getting like 5 in a week and it was just a lot. And even when I go to the flea market, like a couple weeks ago, I got like a bunch of dolls and I just felt very like overwhelmed. Like the dolls were kind of taking over my life and my room. And I know that's not obviously how it should be. But when you get so many dolls at one time, it just doesn't feel as magical anymore. And that kind of goes back to my Mad Science Laguna, where it was so exciting to get a new doll. And it was so exciting to feel that new feeling of a doll that sometimes you kind of substitute that feeling of happiness, excitement with dolls. And you sometimes, I know I would, and whenever I felt like something wasn't going right in my life, when things were changing, I know I'm kind of a person who's kind of hard to change with, like hard to deal with changes being a thing. I know that like sometimes I'm like, okay, like I'll buy myself a doll as a treat. And when you're buying yourself a doll as a treat, you kind of equate obviously buying dolls with happiness, and that's never a good thing. And that kind of leans into like a shopping addiction and everything, and I definitely have struggled with that, again, with collecting dolls. And there's no shade to the dolls, because like they're products for people, they're for the kids, they're for collectors. It's whatever. It's more about like the person, individual who is buying the dolls, and that's the person at fault. So I'm taking responsibility for myself feeling burnt out, and I'm taking responsibility that maybe I didn't need $5 in a week last year. Maybe I didn't need to buy every single doll on sale, because even though dolls do go on sale and it's exciting to wait for dolls to go on sale, you don't really need, like, I personally, when I say this, I'm speaking for myself, maybe I don't need every single LOL OMG doll coming out. I think, like, as a person who's starting to change and big changes are coming into my life right now, I think it's important that I'm gonna focus on dolls that I enjoy a lot more than completing a OMG line or a Rainbow High line or a Monster High line or a I'm probably gonna buy every single Bratz doll that comes out this year. I'm not gonna lie. Like Bratz and Monster High G3 are the dolls that I'm like super into right now, so I could see myself being more completionist with those. But I also think it's okay to take the time to also only buy like a doll a month. Not, you know what I mean? Like very space out the releases, because I know a doll, for the example, that I've been super enjoying right now has been my Little Mermaid Ariel doll. And it's not even that like I really was buying this doll when I didn't buy any dolls. Like there's other dolls that I was buying kind of when I got this doll, but she's just been one of those contenders. There's a fuzzy in the camera. One of those contenders of a doll that I just like, she kind of just sounds everything out, and like I can just focus on her. And I like that feeling of being able to buy a doll once at a time and then just being able to focus on her, being able to enjoy her for being her and not having to enjoy, you know, the other Rainbow High dolls and stuff that I would buy usually. And I think it's important to take time to just spend with one doll. And it's exciting, again, to have the full lines, but when I'm speaking for myself, I know that sometimes I just enjoy when I buy one doll at a time, and instead of buying 5. And it's very exciting to buy 5 at a time, and I'm not saying that you should never ever buy 5 at a time, but I know personally I just think it's kind of overwhelming. Especially like even like washing old dolls. Like when you go to the flea market, when I bought like, I think I bought like 10 at a time that once, and it was exciting. Like I was excited to go from booth to booth to get all the new dolls, and I was excited to have them in my collection, and obviously my collection benefited from them, and I enjoy them in my collection. But at that time of buying them, of having cleaned that many dolls in a short amount of time, and I know there wasn't really a time limit to washing dolls, like there never really is, but for me, I like to wash them hopefully in the week that they're in, because hopefully the week that I get them in, because like I don't want $30 in my room, and like if I didn't give myself like a time limit, like then they would probably never be cleaned. I'm someone who definitely needs like a little time crunch to clean my dolls and everything, and just to do things in general. But I just think it's important to because also in like the area of like, let's use this as an example. When you're washing $10 at a time, not every single one of them is going to give you the attention and detail to care that if you wash $3 at a time, where you're able to boil wash them and stylize them a lot better and give them outfits and make sure their clothes are clean. Because when you're doing a bunch at a time, it just like things go wrong. Maybe not every doll gets that nice boil wash. Maybe not every doll gets a nice ponytail or however you style them. So I hope that metaphor kind of makes some sort of sense of like taking the time to fully live in your collection and not have them take over you is vastly important. And again, I think buying dolls is exciting. It should be something that's exciting. It's a hobby. It's not supposed to be something that's dragging you down. And I know, again, there was times when I felt dragged down by my dolls. I didn't enjoy them. I would honestly not enjoy any doll when those times would be. And I think right now I'm at a moment in my life where I'm just gonna be calm. And I think it's exciting that I'm kind of on the new area. But I've also, as I say that, I literally just bought 2 Pretty Punk dolls that were on pre-order last night. So, sorry. Perhaps in Monster High or something that those lines that like they're just gonna do it for me. Like I can't say no to them. Like when that monster, like I'm only saying this because like right now like I'm really close to buying all a Monster Ball. Like I'm so seated for those dolls, and like when those dolls, and when I see them in real life, like I might probably buy Laguna and Draculaura immediately. But I also just think it's fun to just like chill out, you know? Dolls are never that serious. Every doll that is mass produced, I think this is another point. Every doll that is mass produced will be around for a long time. Maybe, and even like the Monster High alumni dolls, and I want to kind of talk about this quickly because I think a lot of people think that like the alumni dolls right now, because there's a big collector space and everyone's very into collecting Monster High, and I think that's great. I love the vast amount of people that I have to talk to about Monster High dolls, and I like the community that I can obviously go on Twitter and there's a bunch of people who love Monster High dolls just like me. But also when there's a bunch of people collecting Monster High dolls, once that, like, you know, once Monster High is not cool to collect anymore and doll collecting is not as in vogue, you know, because it's happened time and time again where there's been a huge, and I'm gonna take OMG for an example. When OMG debuted in like that 2020, like even like the 2021 before remix and during remix, there was a bunch of people collecting OMG dolls. And right now we're kind of in an area where no one is really collecting OMG dolls like they used to. So the market is flooded with OMG dolls. You can get any OMG doll for cheap. And that's going to inevitably happen with Monster High, where the alumni dolls, like the Hunk Couture, like anyone from I think 2023 onwards, is probably going to be easier to find on secondhand markets. And they're definitely going to flood the market in a couple years. So I'm kind of just chilling with the Monster High alumni dolls. I definitely want to get Spectra from the new Masquerade doll. But even the Frankie doll that I got, like I spent the $85 after shipping and taxes, and I just haven't enjoyed them. I haven't washed their hair. I haven't done much. They're on my display, and they're really pretty, and I love them. But I kind of feel like I didn't help myself out by buying them for that expensive price point. And I kind of, and again, I waited months for that doll, and I got them later. But I still feel like I kind of bought into FOMO, which is, again, my issue and everything. But I think it's okay to hold yourself accountable. I think no one is ever in the area, right, especially now, where anyone is ever able to hold themselves accountable. There's always someone trying to place blame on someone else. And I think it's okay to take time like this and hold yourself accountable for the issues that you have started in your own life. And it doesn't have to be doll collecting, but it can be just greater than that. And I think it's okay for me to just take the time to just hold myself accountable for maybe buying dolls that I don't truly enjoy, but I want to complete the collection. I want to feel like a Monster High fan or a Bratz fan or whatever, and I just wanted to feel like a part of something. And I don't think that's ever bad. I do think it's bad to buy into FOMO, obviously, if you don't actually enjoy the doll. But I think it's okay to feel like a part of something. Like, I wish last year I bought one of the Shadow High dolls when they first launched, because I would have felt more a part of it. And obviously, like, that's kind of here nor there. But I think it's exciting sometimes when, like, something new and exciting, like, when G3 came out, I'm so happy that I bought those dolls at full price, because I felt like it was just a big moment for Monster High, and I wanted them all immediately, and I'm happy that I did that. And I think there's times when you're able to just buy every doll you want, because whatever, who cares? And I did that with G3, and I was so happy in that moment. I mean, obviously, again, equating dolls with happiness is horrible, and you probably shouldn't do that. But it was just like a community moment that I felt very vindicated by buying them. So I don't know. I don't know what I meant by that, but and I'm never gonna sit here and tell you guys how to buy your dolls and what to do and how to do it. I just want to talk again for myself and everything. And I hope this video doesn't get twisted. I don't even think I made any of the points that I was originally trying to make when I sat down and like thought about what I want to talk about my doll Burnout, because the sum of it is all just buying a lot at a short amount of time is a lot for people. consuming a lot of media at a short amount of time, like even besides just dolls. Like it could be music, and you're listening to it so much you just get overwhelmed and you get sick of it and you don't want to like touch it for days. And I just think the way that I want to have my collection, I don't want to get burnt out. I don't want to feel like I don't want to touch my dolls. I feel like I want to enjoy them every day that I have with them, obviously. Not that that's going to like end or anything, but like I just want to enjoy the time that I have with the dolls and everything. So I think the key for myself right now is just taking time to enjoy them, to not get caught up in everything. And that was obviously harder said than done, but something that I want to try to do for myself. So I don't know. Please in the comments below, let me know what y'all think about doll burnout, and if you ever experienced the anticipation of trying to buy everything and not feeling like you're current enough or something. I just want to know your thoughts and opinions, because I'm very intrigued to know if you guys have ever felt like you felt burnt out by even just like looking at Instagram pictures of seeing all the new dolls coming out, and it is very overwhelming. But I think there's definitely ways to combat that, and I'm trying to do that in my own area. So yeah. Thank you guys, I guess, for today's video. It was so much fun to go chat with you guys, and I don't know if I, again, made all my points and everything, but I hope I did, and I hope this came off in a good way, and I didn't mean to shade or diss anybody or anything in this video. So yeah, I don't know. Thank you guys again, though, so much for watching today's video. I love you all endlessly, and don't feel burnt out. Or again, remember, collecting is for fun. It's a hobby. It's not meant to be stressful, and it's not meant to take you down, and if it does start taking you down, it's okay to take breaks. These are just plastic dolls. They're not going to run away from you. Maybe she will, but they're going to be here for a long time, and there's never, ever, ever any stress. And I hope none of my videos ever, doll hauls, cleaning videos, whatever, put any stress on anybody, because that's not what any of it's for. So with that, again, thank you for watching and staying tuned, and I love you guys all very, very endlessly. Please have a fierce night. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you all very endlessly soon. Love you guys. Bye. Bye, everybody.